Okay, so we are going to plot this rational function. First, I want to find my, if I have any vertical asymptotes, and to do that, I will set my denominator equal to 0. So I'll say 1 minus x squared is equal to 0. I will add x squared to both sides, and I will get 1 equals x squared, almost there, square root of both sides, and I get x equals plus or minus 1. So these are going to be my vertical asymptotes. I'm going to go ahead and draw them with a dotted line. So I get a dotted line here. This is the vertical line x equals 1. And this is the vertical line x equals minus 1. Okay, the next question is, are there any horizontal asymptotes? So the thing I want you to remember when plotting rational functions is that if the power of the numerator is less than the power of the denominator, then our horizontal asymptote will be y equals 0. So this is our horizontal asymptote. So I'm going to plot this. It's just right on top of the axis. So now we have 3 asymptotes. So now our job is to figure out what happens in the middle. There's a few options. We know that our graph is going to approach these lines, but we don't know necessarily what's going to happen in the middle. One thing to do is you can plot this on your calculator if you're allowed to use it on your test. So I can do this. It'll make a graph. So the graph isn't super clear, but it kind of gets us started. If you don't have a calculator, you can't use one thing to start out with is you can find the Y-Intercept. So if I plug in 0 for x, I can kind of do this in my head. 0 over 1 minus 0 should be 0 over 1, which is 0. So this must go through the origin. The next thing to do, so if you don't have a calculator or if your teacher wants you to do a plot and actually plot some more points, you can make a table, right? And I would probably, if I had a calculator, I would use the table function. And I'd be sure to plug in some numbers in the middle here. Like I would want to plug in 0.5 for sure, negative 0.5. Okay, and those both give me, let's see, I get 2/3 and minus 2/3. So that's going to be about right here and about right here. And already I can kind of tell that my function is going to do something like this, at least in the middle. And let me add my points to my chart. I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse here. So this is 1/2, and this is 2/3, and this is negative 1/2. This is negative 2/3. Okay, and I just got that out of my calculator. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more points here just to see what's happening over here. I'm going to plug in 2. If I plug in 2, I get negative 2/3. I'll plug in 3. Let's see what we get. I get negative 3.75. Excuse me, negative 0.375, which I think is 3/8. But anyway, so our function over here is it's negative and it's getting closer to this asymptote, this is what we needed to know really. That's going to behave like this. We know it's going to approach our asymptote. And over here, it's usually the opposite, but let's try a number. So let's plug in negative 2. So I'll plug in, oh shoot, I was doing the wrong side, right? So I was, oh no, I was doing it right, never mind. So yeah, I plug in negative 2, it's just confused me a little bit here, and I get 2/3. So there we go. And I'll plug in negative 3 as well while we're at it. And I get that same number actually, 0.375. So there you go. So this must be my behavior on this side of the graph. All right, and there's our graph in blue.